perfect fit closets. How to use cleats. We'll be talking about our Cleat Connect to Fix shelf, Cleat Connect to panel, and Cleat standalone. I have the 2020 platform open, and I've also got in my local browser the Perfect Fit Canada Canadian catalog. I currently have a drawing on my split screen here, the top view as well as my elevation view. On the left-hand side, I've got one tall module. And on the right-hand side, I have three different types of wall modules. I have a 47 3/8 with a hanging rod at the bottom, a 72 5/8 with a shelf on the bottom, and a 72 5/8 with no bottom shelf. So let's go ahead and start populating these as they would to adhere them to the back wall. We know the tall modules are currently floating, so this needs an actual item to adhere to the back wall. What we can do is we can add a cleat to this tall module so it doesn't float. Here is two examples. The primary example is to put fixed shelves at the very bottom of every top fixed shelf. So if I had multiple tall modules, I would place this underneath that the top fixed shelf and at the bottom. In my categories section, I'm going to double click parts. In parts, I've got 5 subsections as well as a cleat section at the bottom with all the different parts. In cleats, let's talk about Cleat Connect to Fix shelf. We have a cleat. It is edge banded at the very bottom and no edge banding on the left and right nor the top. Doesn't need it. It's not going to be exposed or seen by the client, but the bottom will. So I'm going to left click my Cleat Connect to Fix shelf, drag it into my elevation. As soon as I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse and position it at the very top, below the top fixed shelf. So now the installer can go ahead and adhere to the back wall. There is an installation video on how to actually use cleats and how to install them. In quick short form, to install the cleats, we would always attach the cleat to the fixed shelf first, and then add both together at the same time. This will prevent the installer from damaging the back wall when they're trying to drill from the top to the very bottom. So again, there is a video on how to use cleats, and we always want to attach the cleat to the top fixed shelf prior to adding it to the module. Other dealers, when they have different shelves and they have kind of a bowed wall, or if they just want extra cleats, absolutely, we can add more cleats and as many as possible. I always want to add at least a minimum of 1. And again, it will depend on the installation as well as the designer. So again, we have 2 options. We can add 2 different cleats on various different shelves, depending on the application. But normally, 1 will be sufficient. Next is I have my wall modules. I've got a 47 3/8 and 2 72 5/8. So we have different examples here. Because these wall modules already come with the hanging rail, the arms, the covers, it's already adhered to the back wall. No cleat is necessary. However, we can always assume the end client will be putting bowling balls or gold bricks or something very heavy. So if you want to add more structure to it, we can certainly add cleats to these wall modules. So this goes now to our Cleat Connect to Panel and Cleat Standalone. For this section here, this is going to be a double hang. I can certainly go to my categories, double click our accessories, go to our rods, and now I have a double hang. So this is sufficient. I don't need another cleat here, but if you do want to add another cleat, I would then go to my categories, parts, Cleat Connect to Fix shelf, and add it to this bottom shelf here. This doesn't do too much, but what we could do is we can attach it to the very top, or we can attach it to the very bottom of that shelf. So we can go back and forth, whatever we'd like to do. But again, this is good enough, 47 3/8. For these wall modules, because they have more material, and now it's getting heavier, we can certainly add it to the very bottoms or the sides. If we use Cleat Connect to Panel, I would use it in this portion here and drop. What the installer can do is they can attach the cleat, pilot drill the holes on the sides, screw it in, and now we have a cleat. So we have extra structure in this portion here. I can easily go ahead, and in the circumstances would be, for example, we could have a wire basket. Let's have an 11-inch wire basket here. We're going to drop it in, and we can do something like this. So if you wanted to add a wire basket, but you wanted to add an extra cleat because it's open with no bottom shelf, this is a fantastic opportunity. If we right-click the actual cleat itself, go into Features and Options, what's great about the Connect to Panel is that we have edge banding on the top as well as the bottom, because these are going to be exposed. So if you ever wanted to have edge banding on the top and bottom, use Cleat Connect to Panel. If we take a look at the regular Cleat Connect to Fixed Shelf, we've got no edge banding in the left, right, top, but only in the bottom. So this would apply in this circumstance. So let's make a note. To Cleat Connect to Fixed Shelf, edge banding on bottom. Cleat Connect to Panel, edge banding is on the top and bottom. So those are the two current cleats that we've just discussed. And for this Cleat Connect to Panel, we can really use it wherever we'd like. If you just want more structure somewhere, we can certainly do so. Last but not least is going to be our cleat standalone. If we drag and drop our cleats, let's just drop it in right here at the very bottom. And now we can resize it. I've left click once, and now I can resize, click again, and I've dropped it in. I could always right click the cleat again and resize the width. Now what I would do is I would use the cleat standalone for a variety of different reasons. The first reason would be to put it at the very bottom of a wall module, but I want to have it so that it's underneath the vertical panels or gables, as well as the fixed shelf. So what I would do is I would take my line-to-line annotation, outside to outside, and the outside to outside dimension is 25.5 inches. I would take my cleat, I'm going to delete it again, we'll re-add it back in, cleat standalone, we're going to drag it into the elevation once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse, I'm going to left click once, and now I'm going to resize it here on my placement zone. I'm going to indicate that I want this to be 25.5 inches. Hit enter. We're going to drag it, and we're going to go up and down and put it in position here. I have my area snap on, therefore it'll snap it in place. So let's go ahead and just drag, because we want to connect. So let's right click and put it in the exact position, and I want to use, as you can see here, the actual boxes. We want to auto snap it right in the corner. If we take a look at the properties for a cleat standalone, we can right click the cleat standalone, go to Features and Options, and under Features and Options, we have edge banding, left, right, and top, none. Edge banding bottom, yes. But because it's the cleat standalone, the exposed area is going to be the left, bottom, and right, but not the top. So I can leave the top alone, and we're going to say that I want edge banding on the left, and I want edge banding on the right. I don't need it on the top. I could, however, always add it in there, but we can leave it as no. There is no extra cost, so I can certainly add yes if I wanted to. So now all I got to do is just make a note for my installer that this is a cleat, edge banded, left, right, and bottom. So we could always I always like to add notes whenever possible there. And then obviously I can click on display settings and I can change the actual font and change it to a smaller size to make it a little bit easier for everyone. So let's add to our note here that we have Cleat Connect. Oh, made a spelling mistake there. Cleat Connect, or Cleat Standalone, I should say. Edge banding on bottom only, and option to edge band all sides. So a cleat, really, you can resize the height, you can resize the width, and it's a fantastic opportunity, and it can be used for a variety of different reasons. Here's another reason. Here's the second reason. I'm going to grab a cleat standalone. I'm going to drag it into the elevation. I see my magnet and let go my mouse. And let's just say that I want it to be 24 inches wide. So left click once, and I'm going to tell it that I want this to be 24 inches wide. Hit enter. Now what I can do is I can right click the cleat itself, go to features and options. I'm going to say that I want edge banding on all 4 sides. Click on OK. Now I can make a note saying that this is a cleat edge banded on all sides. A great opportunity would be to add hooks. We can go to categories, accessories. You can scroll down to find our hooks. There it is here, double click hooks, and I can click a single coat hook. I can drag it into the elevation. I see my magnet, let go my mouse, and I can add just a whole bunch of hooks here. This is a great opportunity when you have an angled wall or if it's a small area. You could always add hooks. Coat hooks are a fantastic way for lightly used coats, lightly used items. Maybe, yeah, you really can use it for whatever you'd like. So once I've added the hooks, I can just position it up and down. And then the same thing here. There is more information on videos on how to use hooks, about the in and out, and how to position it properly. And now I've got some hooks. So Cleat standalone is very versatile. So we've spoken about Cleat connect to fixed shelf, edge banding on the bottom only, and this would apply to all tall modules. Add as many cleats as you want, but minimum requirement of 1 cleat per tall module. We've got a Cleat connect to panel, and these are great when you have an open shelf or wherever you'd like to go, and there's edge banding on the top and bottom only. Cleat standalone is going to be versatile. It can really be used wherever you'd like. You just have to use the up and down or drag features. It only comes edge banded on the bottom, but you do have the option to edge band all sides, indicating right here. So now that we have this, we actually have a little bit of structure because now the cleat is underneath the verticals and the fixed shelf alone. So now we have extra material and we can put more weight on here. We always recommend that the installer finds the wooden stud because we know the wooden stud, it's got a pull force of over 1,500 pounds. So that's always best case to use that. Or we can use the cleat standalone edge band at all sides and use it for hooks or any decorative items. If you have any questions, please do connect with us at support@perfectfitcanada.com.